What's up guys, it's Louis here, hope you are doing great. In this video I'm going to talk about the type of access bond I use for my properties in South Africa. I'm going to cover what it is, why it's important, the two different types of access bonds available in South Africa, and at the end I'm going to share the one that I prefer to use for my investment properties. Please note that this is for investment properties and not for my primary residence, so you might have to choose the other option if you want to use it for your own primary residence. An access bond is simply a free tool that you can use to save on interest and still have access to your money. This is a great way to save additional funds or save extra money that you might have, whether it's disposable income or a return from a different investment. And while doing this, you can still get full access to the money that you invest in this access bond. A lot of South Africans use an access bond facility to save because you effectively save the amount of interest that the bank charged you for your home loan. Most of the time that is around prime rate, and prime rate now is 11.75%. Instead of saving, for example, 50,000 Rand in a traditional savings account where it would probably yield around 7% or around 300 Rand per month, you can actually save that 50,000 Rand within your access bond and effectively receive an interest rate or a savings or a yield or whatever you want to call it of 11.75%. So instead of receiving 300 Rand on your 50,000 Rand, you can effectively save 500 Rand on the exact same amount using your access bond. And the best part of all, it's not a fixed investment, so you can get access to that money at any given point. This means that saving your money in an access bond compared to a savings account in this example will give you a 67% better return when saving it in your access bond. Many people don't know, but there's two different types of access bonds in South Africa, and I tried to research this topic online, but I couldn't really find enough detail about the two different options, so I decided to use my access bond facility terms and condition page to show you guys the two different options that the banks offer. The first option, which is highlighted in purple, is called the Access Bond Link 1, and this gives you access to additional funds. I'm just going to read this to you and simplify it in just a minute, but it says the minimum repayment will be calculated on repaying the balance outstanding plus the available balance over the remaining term of the loan, and all funds paid over and above the minimum repayment will be available for you to withdraw. So this sounds quite confusing, but simply put, the first option or the first access bond link 1 type gives you access to the whole amount that you save in the access bond, and it reduces your loan term, but it keeps your monthly repayment the same. So to simplify this further, if you have a 500,000 Rand loan over 30 years and you make an additional payment of 50,000 Rand, you can reduce your loan term from 30 years to, let's say, 27 years, but your monthly repayment will still be 5,000 Rand each and every month, and it will continue to stay 5,000 Rand unless you change the access bond option. This is the option to follow if you are planning to pay off your bond as quickly as possible so that you can get access to your title deed and settle your debt with the bank. Again, you have full access to your 50,000 Rand while you are reducing your loan term. The second option available is the one that's highlighted in blue, which is called the Access Bond Link 2. And just to clarify something, this is what Standard Bank calls their access bond types, and I'm just going to read again. This is based on monthly payment reductions, and the minimum repayment will be recalculated on repaying the balance outstanding over the remaining term of the loan whenever a payment over and above the required minimum repayment is made. The available funds will reduce every month by the capital repayment not covered by the lower minimum repayment. Again, this sounds super confusing, but what it basically means is that if you pay 50,000 Rand into your Access Bond Link Type 2, you will reduce your monthly payment instead of reducing your loan term. So if you have a 500,000 Rand home loan with a monthly repayment of 5,000 Rand over a 30-year term, your loan term will still be exactly the same even though you make additional payments, but your monthly repayment or your premium will be reduced. So instead of paying 5,000 Rand per month for your home loan, after adding your additional 50,000 Rand, your monthly repayment can go down to, for example, 4,500 Rand. So this is a great way to still have access to majority of your funds. Unfortunately, the amount available for you to access goes down the longer you have it in the Access Bond, but it's with a very small amount, so you can still get access to majority of the money, but the advantage is it reduces your monthly repayment, which provides better cash flow for your investments. So if you are someone that's focused on cash flow, this is definitely an option that can work for you, especially if you consider following the refinancing strategy. So with the two options out of the way, the option that I prefer to use is of course the second option, the one that reduces my monthly repayment. The reason why is because I am not planning on paying off my properties at this stage in my life. Maybe later on the older I get, but at the moment I'm still in my growth phase and I consider using all the money that I can and still have access to the money while I increase my cash flow. Again, this might be different depending on your exact situation, so make sure you choose the option that will work for you. The reason I do this is because I can still get access to my money, but the monthly repayment will be reduced, meaning that my cash flow will be better, and the cash flow that I can receive can be used to cover maintenance costs, repairs, or to use for income for future investments. Just to show you guys an example, this is one of the properties that I own and it's bonded with Standard Bank, and you can see that the outstanding loan is 308,000 Rand. This property was actually purchased for 310,000 Rand and I refinanced it for 450,000 Rand, where you can see at the bottom it shows that you have access to 131,000 Rand, or let's call it 132,000 Rand. So that's effectively money or equity that I have access to that I can use for future investments. But with that said, although it shows that the loan amount is 450,000 Rand, I only have to pay monthly installments for the 310,000 Rand, which results into around 3,367 Rand. If I took the first Access Bond option, I will still have access to that 132,000 Rand, but my monthly installment will jump from the initial 3,367 Rand to around 4,500 Rand. Although I still save the money in the Access Bond, now suddenly you are paying for that money even though you're not using it yet. So that's why I prefer using the second option, because it works for what I am doing. With that said, I created a property course where I cover all of these details from the beginning up until the end. And if you are someone that's serious about investing in property, consider enrolling in this course. Unfortunately, the price of the course is increasing at the end of April, so consider enrolling before it goes up. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.